begins to the fish to our mouths. Humans are impacted by the things we put in all parts of our water supply. Growing demand for healthier meat options have created a boom in the commercial fishing industry. But just how different are farmed fish, like salmon, different than wild fish? Wild salmon is an incredibly nutritious food source, containing omega-3 fatty acids that help reduce the risks of cardiovascular disease in adults while preventing healthy brain and vision development in children. In wild salmon populations, the omega-3s are obtained from plants eaten by the salmon. In captivity, all the omega-3s must be fed to the salmon. While opponents to commercial fish farms claim the fish are low in omega-3s, the Department of Health claims no sizable difference in omega-3 concentration between commercial and wild-caught salmon. Traditionally, pregnant women and children were advised to stay away from large amounts of fish because of concerns of mercury poisoning. However, in commercial fish farming, steps can be taken to not expose the fish to mercury. This opens up this healthy food group to vulnerable populations that couldn't safely eat wild-caught fish. While farmed fish may not have less omega-3s, some studies have shown they do have high concentrations of other harmful materials. The Environmental Working Group, a nonprofit committed to organic agriculture, published a study showing that in 7 out of 10 commercially produced salmon, levels of the carcinogenic toxins, polychlorinated biphenyls, were 16 times higher than wild-caught salmon. There seems to be other differences. FDA labeling for farmed salmon shows a 46% increase in calories with 3 times the saturated fat as its wild counterpart. As fish becomes more popular, we may not have much of a choice in farm versus wild raised. Almost 2/3 of salmon consumed in the U.S. is farm raised. As demand increases, pressure will be put on farms to raise more salmon. This unnatural population density has some side effects. Sea lice are a parasite that can feed on the blood and skin of salmon. Salmon farms are a buffet for sea lice. These parasites infect the water around the fisheries, attaching to wild salmon and other sea lice as they swim close to the farms. Commercial salmon are much more resilient to the parasites than their wild cousins. A different fight is also being waged on salmon production. To increase yield, a company called Aqua Advantage has developed a genetically modified salmon. The company was able to splice the genes of an eel with the salmon, making the salmon reach market size in half the time of its natural counterparts. There's been a great deal of pushback on allowing this genetically modified animal into the food supply. Many supermarkets like Walmart, Kroger, and Safeway refuse to sell what they call a Frankenfish. Is this genetically modified salmon safe? The FDA thinks so. Kathleen Jones, a spokeswoman for the FDA's Center for Veterinary Medicine, put out a statement saying, quote, "All of the data and information we reviewed really drive us to the conclusion that Aqua Advantage salmon is Atlantic salmon, and food from Aqua Advantage is as safe as food from other Atlantic salmon." End quote. These stores have seemed to ban the salmon not based on the potential danger, but to appease consumers that see the fish as unnatural. Salmon fisheries are a way to grow food efficiently for an ever-growing market, but it does have its drawbacks. Higher level of carcinogenic materials and detrimental effects on natural fish stock are problems that must be addressed. As the practice becomes more widely used, the FDA, environmental groups, and companies like Aqua Advantage must work together to ensure a safe, stable, and humane approach to salmon farming.